This just told us everything about the St. Louis Blues as Alex Dean took on this team with multiple young players pushing and making impacts. A recent report revealing the top prospects and top pools around the NHL not only has Blues fans fired up, but just showing the key details of this team moving forward and exactly why the rest of the NHL should be terrified on what's unfolding in St. Louis. We're going to break down everything you need to know on these rankings, the top prospects, reports, and so much more. So, Darius, let's just dive straight into it today, where a recent report did drop headlining every prospect pool throughout the NHL and all 32 teams with their U23 players. Now, looking at the NHL, there's a lot of teams that are very good. The Montreal Canadiens have a young core, the San Jose Sharks with Macklin Celebrini, but jumping in at number 7, the St. Louis Blues just shows the future of this team, a team that was in the playoffs and seconds away from advancing versus the Winnipeg Jets just 2 years ago. Of course, a down year, but this is a team filled with elite talent, young talent, prospects, draft picks. Darius, this is a team, and of course, Blues fans, we know we're super excited on what's unfolding. And with the list, there's so many young guys, starting off with the top U23 player in Jamie Snuggerud. Darius, first off, what is your thoughts on this prospect list with all the young guys oozing with potential through this organization? The future looked insane at this point.
Now, not to dump on Corey Pronman, who released this list, but all 32 teams and their fan bases have a problem with this list. I just want to preference that before we really dive into everything, that you're going to hear some stuff that you're like, really? That's really what's being said right now? So just want to preference that, but not to dump on him. It's hard to make prospect lists, right? At the end of the day, because nobody is going to agree with any one prospect list. But the fact that the Blues are ranked so highly in the league is great news, because a large portion of their team moving forward and of Springfield moving forward is 23 years old or younger. So in theory, if you think about that, much like the Montreal Canadiens, this team is in a great spot moving forward. Now, there's a couple names that he decided to outline, like a Jimmy Snuggerud, for example, which, hard to argue this, already has a couple years of NHL experience under his belt, and, is, keep in mind, this is all players under 23. So, when you think of prospects, sometimes you don't necessarily think of guys who've already played in the NHL making an impact at the NHL level, but he's poised for a monster season this year. He's not playing behind anybody at this point. He's going to be getting top line minutes. He was part of one of the best lines in hockey down the stretch last season, and some really good hockey from the Blues overall. Never mind lines, never mind, defense pairings, all that type of stuff. He was just really good down the stretch as well. So I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do next year. And I think a lot of eyes are on him, and sometimes he does get forgotten because there are guys like, Holloway. What's Holloway going to do? And, Robert Thomas, is he going to lead the way offensively? He needs to, right? There's so many storylines with that heading to next year. But how about Jimmy Snuggerud, right? That's a big storyline as well. And to top it all off, he's in the last year of his contract. He is due for a probably major raise going into next season, the 2027-28 season. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Had some good stuff to say about him. So I don't disagree with this one, but there's some other interesting rankings on this.
Because, looking at this, of course, the St. Louis Blues had 4 first-round picks. They went out to get Mason McTavish, a very good young player to join this team, to add to the young core. Jimmy Snuggerud stepping through. Even Jake Neighbor, still very young, and coming in at number 2, we're not going to break down the full list, but just headlining the team itself is Adam Jiříček, an offensively gifted defenseman that has an edge to his game, and of course has worked on his two-way game. You can see the write-up on him. He's one of the most outstanding players coming out of the OHL. We've seen him in Springfield, but Darius, a very young guy that's going to add quite a bit to this organization moving forward. Someone that's good at stopping plays, retrieving pucks, and a cannon of a shot. Looking at the stat line coming out of the OHL, this was a guy that's electric, and it felt like every single night we got a clip of a highlight goal. 19 goals in 55 games. We see in the between the legs goal when he represented at the World Juniors as well, with 5 goals, 6 total points over 7 games. The right-handed defenseman, and that's a big key word in my opinion. We know that every NHL team oozes when they look at the potential of landing a right-handed guy, but a guy that has the cannon, the shot, good skating. Someone that kind of adds everything, and of course he can still work on his skating, his defensive game. But a guy coming through, Darius, I know you rave about this guy quite a bit, but what is your thoughts on Adam Jiříček coming in at number 2? And of course we're going to get into a guy that is way too far down on this list after that.
Yeah, well, I think that, he's a great player and I rave about him all the time, but second best prospect, I don't know. I think there's another guy on the list, which we'll get to in a second, that could be second, but Adam Jiříček is going to be a huge factor for this team moving forward. And he's going to make an impact in the NHL. It's just a matter of when at this point, right? Like you just went out, you traded for Brandon Carlo so you could shore up the defense with some more, experience, the right-hand shot. But like you said, he is ripping up every league that he's playing in at this point in every tournament. He looked outstanding at the World Hockey Championships as well, World Junior Hockey Championships, excuse me, earlier this year. And not only that, smooth skating, right shot defenseman who now, everyone was talking about his offensive output and how great he looked offensively. What he's doing away from the puck is really, really impressive, especially in the second half of last season. He wasn't just an offensive guy. Of course he was, and that is his skill set, right? But it was like, hey, what he's doing away from the puck is truly special right now, and he's adding different elements to his game. He obviously made the jump to go pro at the end of last season, so he spent some time with the Springfield Thunderbirds in the playoffs, but he's going pro full-time this season, which, by the way, is going to be really exciting this year because not only are the Blues going to be young and exciting, but the Springfield Thunderbirds, in theory, they're going to be really exciting and young as well. There's going to be a lot of top prospects, scratching and clawing for roles on that team, and it's not going to be a bunch of veteran guys like it has been, the last couple of years, it seems, with a couple of younger skill guys sprinkled in there. It's going to be a lot of younger guys coming together, working together, and in theory, it should be a better team, all working under Steve Ott. So that should be very exciting as well. But no, you should be absolutely, you should be really excited about this guy, and it's just a matter of when he's going to make an impact at the NHL level. And I do imagine he starts the year in the AHL, but it could be another, injuries happen. We saw it last year. You could see a couple guys like an Otto Stenberg last year who comes up and makes an impact, right? And then you're never really looking back. So could be an interesting thing that happens, halfway through the season. But again, very excited to see what he does.
I mean, everyone kind of raves about the Steve Ott going down to Springfield to work with that group, but with all the talent coming through, not only is he going to have a very competitive team going through in the AHL, but I think that seamless transition is going to be perfect. We seen Lindstein talk about it, how coming up, it was almost seamless. You came up, you had the same system, you had a guy that's been around the Blues organization for quite some time. But Darius, of course, every single list has one of the outliers that comes through, and at number 7, you're not reading that wrong, was listed as Justin Carbonneau. And listen, of course, if you're looking at the Blues organization, and Carbonneau's ranked 7th, which we don't agree with because he's a lot better than that, and no hate to the prospect, but that just shows you how damn deep this team truly is. If someone can slide Justin Carbonneau, a 50 goal scorer in the Kyrou, of course not in the NHL yet, it's gonna end up happening, into this position. As you can see, he's a strong skater, he has an elite magician handle, he has a shot. This is going to be a prototypical, not only top 6 player, but someone that's going to join this organization as an absolute brute. He fought for it last season. We seen in training camp, almost making the roster, going back and, of course, dominating 51 goals in 60 games, not making the World Juniors team, which, of course, Canada is very looking stupidly for not doing. But Darius, with Justin Carbonneau coming in at 7, looking aside from the terrible ranking of where he's to, and no hate to Lawrence and everyone above him, does it just kind of make you feel more comfortable looking at the scheme of this team moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. And I think I can understand why defensemen are highly rated, right? And probably higher on the list because they are defensemen. If you're more dynamic, you're probably, weighted heavier in the organization, I guess. But Justin Carbonneau at 7 is crazy, right? Like he is one of their best players and could make the team, could absolutely make the team this year. He was close to making the team last year. And the only reason he didn't is because they were like, it's easier to send him back down to the QMJHL where he can continue to develop, which actually doesn't make any sense because he's too good for that league already. And they did that, right? So, it was just an easy option for the team, but he was right there last year. He stuck around for a long time. We were surprised. We were talking about it off camera, like, hey, this kid's sticking around for a while at this point. He obviously went pro at the end of last year as well, only 3 games in the AHL, but he is a goal scorer. He has a real opportunity to make this team. I'm really excited to see what he does too, especially in training camp. I think he's going to be explosive, and 7 is crazy, but it does lead you to wonder, where does Kaskamäki land, on these lists, right? For example, Theo Lindstein, where does he land on lists like this as well, right? If Justin Carbonneau is number 7. But like you said, you could look at it that way, or you could look at it like the way we're looking at it, where it goes, Justin Carbonneau is one of the best players in the organization, and he's ranked 7th, which means you got 6 really good players ahead of him, which is really good news for the Blues moving forward. So don't want to dump on Pronman once again, like I said, but nobody's going to agree with any of these rankings, but excited to see what Carbonneau does. We've talked about him so much on the channel. New age power forward, not the biggest guy, but in terms of power forward builds from 20 years ago, but can beat you one-on-one, can score from anywhere, and he's just going to be, explosive offensively. So excited to see what he does.
But fans, let us know your thoughts on the list. Put your full rankings of all prospects down below. We're going to put the link for the full article to read through as well. But if you want more videos like this, us breaking down even more of this article, because the Blues have, listen, a lot of prospects that we can talk about. It's going to be about 2 hours worth of content. So if you want more prospect stuff, let us know. Training camp's around the corner, so hit that sub button so you stay up to date with that. I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care, Blues fans.